Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this little mini theory crafting video where I discuss how I got from gold to platinum this season, and just generally talk about things, as well as this little modification I did to my deck out of pure curiosity, which involved an engine of the weather monsters. And I know what you're thinking, THM, this deck hasn't been relevant ever. Nobody ever played weather as a competitive deck. What the hell are you doing? And the answer is, what makes you think I know? I don't know what I'm doing, I just make crap up and see if it works. And in this case it kinda does work. Although we don't really get to play the weather very much in this particular montage of things we have here, but this is about an hour's worth of duels in which I climbed from Gold 5 to Plat 5. And it worked out pretty well. When you play the weather engine correctly, it's supposed to be a little simple engine off of the weather forecast, the field spell, and a couple other items to give you the Weather Link monster, which can negate summons, and if you have more weather monsters on the field, it can even negate effects. It's basically like a little mini Appaloosa that if you play it right, you can even run in a Fiend deck like this. And it has potential. As you can see, we just won a game with the deck, but we didn't really get to play the weather cards. And that's the danger of the weather cards in this deck, is that they're dead draws by themselves, and they're also dead draws if you don't get the right ones. And there's really no way to guarantee you get the right ones. Like in this duel here, we have Snow, and we have Snowy Canvas, which is the search spell and the starter, but without the weather forecast field spell, we can't really do anything. Because the weather forecast field spell is what you need to get a bonus normal summon so that you can play the weather in other decks. Yeah, it's basically like a double summon for the weather specifically. But in any case, this duel is going to be interesting because we can just discard the weather cards and continue to play the game, and we're gonna make a excuse me. We're gonna make a pretty standard board here. Don't mind the little blank spot you're gonna see in the recording there, but we're gonna make a pretty interesting board, is what I would say if we don't get Nibiru'd. And that's a problem that I've noticed with all of my decks recently, is that they do lose to Nibiru. And when I'm on a winning streak, my god, does Konami like throwing Nibirus at me? Because of course it does. It just wants to be mean that way, I guess. Go figure. So in any case, playing through Nibiru, that's really not a thing that's going to happen in this deck. And I feel like that's a fair check, because it's the one hand trap that really undoes me, other than Max C, which is a hand trap that undoes everyone because it's broken. Woo! Like in this match, we get Max C'd instantly and we just have to scoop, because giving your opponent 30 cards generally guarantees their victory. Even if, you know, they don't get a single other hand trap. They have so much engine they can just play through everything you do. Even if you set up like a perfect board, it just doesn't matter. And if they do draw Nibiru during the Max C combo, you're just gonna die, and you don't have a choice. But here, we actually get to do the thing. Look at that. It's the Weather Painter Rainbow. We get to play the cool card. Wow, amazing. But this duel was also really stupid, because my opponent was trying to play Raid Raptor, and Raid Raptor is a little unfortunate for us here. But we do have the ability to kind of stop them from doing their Exceed summoning with the power of the Rainbow Link monster, which is going to tribute itself to negate a monster. I am very good at words. And so we win that duel, but we do a little deck changing here. That's the deck list, by the way, if you want to check that. Whoa, amazing. And now we go up against Melodious. Melodious, we hit the Max C, and guess what happens, ladies and gentlemen? I'll give you one guess. Wait for it. Yu-Gi-Oh's a great game, ladies and gentlemen. Max C, instant surrender. You know it, you love it. So yeah, when we can play the weather, it's great. Sometimes we get hands like this. Oh, 2 weather forecasts and no other weather card. Amazing, thank you, Konami, you're the best. Oh my god. But it doesn't matter, because our deck is essentially built out of 1-card combos, which means even if we get terrible hands like this, we can still play a little bit. But in this case, we get Max C'd. We don't get Nibiru, thankfully, but it doesn't really matter. This is already enough. What are we gonna do here? Like, we're on a sequence, and that's all we really have. We can't afford to give our opponent any more, and they've got this bastard on the opponent's field, which is the rank 7 Red Eyes monster that deals damage for every effect you activate. Who invented this card, and how can I hurt you? How can I make their day worse? I have to know. Because that is genuinely one of the worst cards ever invented for anything. And then they start playing Asamina, at which point I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm just dead. If I see an engine and I'm like, okay, I can survive this, like I can survive Red Eyes. Red Eyes is one thing. But if I go and beat the Red Eyes and then they start playing freaking Asamina, if they start playing Snake Eye, if they start playing S tier BS like that, I am just gonna leave. You're not gonna win that. That's not a thing. So this hand here is, it's interesting. I may be mildly sick today. I don't know why. But in any case, this hand is mildly interesting because we get double secret password. But it doesn't matter because our dear friend Dustin over there, who I've never met before in my life, surrenders. And we get to move on to the next game. This person named White Rabbit, which made me think, oh god, they're playing Mouse, but they're not. They're playing Snake Eye, which is honestly worse because I don't see it coming. So we get to play a little Fiendsmith here. Woo! We get to draw. We get tracked, which is, by the way, a very underrated spell. Play this in Fiendsmith. Tracked in general is just very good at ensuring you don't drop your combo, because even if you don't get an actual summon out with the Fiendsmith engine, you get tracked, and tracked just exists. Unfortunately, our monster gets flipped face down by their Regenesis combo, so we don't actually get to play Fiendsmith. But we do get to play Weather, and apparently that's too much for our opponent, who sees, oh my god, the weather monsters? Weather Paint or Snow? Nah, I'm not playing against those, and they just surrender, go figure. People in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Are interesting. Like, unless you're faced with certain defeat, if you get max seed, that's one thing. If your opponent starts opening up an engine that's unbeatable, then sure, surrender. But the weather, really? We're surrendering to 2015 cards here? Go figure. So next we do get to play Twin here, so whoa, we actually get to play my favorite deck. But unfortunately we've been Mulkarmi'd, so I don't really get to actually do that, so we scoop. But we do win the next game, which is good. The next game was really not much to speak about, but this game that's coming up, oh boy. This is against Mr. Leon Kennedy, who is going to be playing a deck of all time. And we are playing Fiendsmith, and we actually get it off. And I have to actually say which deck we're playing now when I talk about my deck, because there are so many variants of my own combo line in my deck that sometimes I have to change it to say, oh yeah, we're not even playing Twins, we're playing friggin' Weather now. We're playing Fiendsmith Weather. I don't know if that's even a thing, but that's what we're doing now, Fiendsmith the Weather. Thank you, Konami, for making whatever the hell this catastrophe is. And they're playing Yubel. Chat, we don't like Yubel. So what Yubel is screw you for having a high attack monster, you die. So at this point, I was pretty much already dead, but nevertheless, I was trying to fight it out anyway, because, you know, maybe there's some hope. But Yubel just inflicts damage to you equal to your monster's attack when it attacks. And I have a 5800 attack monster, which means they need to hit me twice to kill me. That's literally all they have to do. They just do that and they win. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to beat that? And they make whoever the hell this guy is, which I've never seen before in my life. I don't even know who you are. But in any case, yeah, that was a weird card. And then they start playing Fiendsmith, and I'm just like, okay, screw me, I guess. Because they have Yubel already, which is enough to beat me. And now they have Fiendsmith. So I have to just kind of sit there and watch the combo that I do in my deck be played. So then they hit over my Icicle, they just do that, they make me suffer. I drop their monster's attack down thinking, oh yeah, I can survive. I can survive, this'll be fine. But I don't, because they just can attack anyway. I'm not even going to show the end of that duel because it's embarrassing. Anyways, moving on. We're going to be playing the Weather Twins now, which isn't going to matter at this point. The Weather engine is just a bluff. That's the other problem with the Weather engine, is that if you get the weather forecast and no monsters, you're just kind of pretending to play Weather because you put out a spell and that's it. That's all. You can't activate it or anything. You can't play anything with it. It's just there. There it is. You've played it. Just like my opponent, who's attempting to play Raid Raptor and is about to fail at playing Raid Raptor because we're going to be able to keep them from putting monsters on the board the entire turn, and they just say screw this and make Typhon, which is just like, universally a bad thing to do. Typhon never wins duels. It's very much a lose less card, and it doesn't actually let you win. So we kill them, and they die, which is about what I was hoping would happen with the rest of these duels, but no. So we do, at this point, get a decent hand, and it didn't matter because the opponent scoops. Again. This is a fun thing about being in Gold, is that people are like, well, I don't get demoted for losing duels, so I guess we'll just go on to the next one. And it's a valid thing you can do, but at the same time, it's really weird. So yeah, we won that duel. And that's how we got to Plat 5. It was very easy, even if we lost some duels because we were playing the weather engine. So what are the final thoughts on the weather engine here? It's a cool concept. I really like it. I wish it was more consistent. And when you can play it, when you can get the weather painter rainbow out, it's amazing. It's basically an Appaloosa. You get so much power out of it, and it just wins. But you can't always do that because the deck is so inconsistent. You can't find the monsters often enough, you can't find the spells and traps often enough, and when you do find the spells and traps often enough, you don't find the monsters, so you're just screwed. You're just playing cards that don't do anything. So that's the conclusion here. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for watching this video. This was very rambly. I am aware. I am a little sick. I am aware. I don't know if I'm actually sick. I'm just existing over here. But check out Hunter's new video. Hunter is a friend of mine, and they have made a YouTube channel, which is at the True Paper Jesus. That is very much a name of all time, and I like it. Hunter is doing that. I am doing this. Master Duel Monday is out on Monday. Big surprise. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. And would you all have a good night.